Whoop, whoop. All right, we are live. Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to the Success Spotlight Talk Show. I have the amazing Sasha Figueroa on again. She's actually just like Dr. Ray. She's one of my permanent guests here on this show. How you doing this morning, Sasha?
I'm doing good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm glad that the week is halfway over.
Oh yeah, this week went by super fast, and it's
Yeah.
always like that at the end of the month. You know, we're practically in May, everyone, and now it's really
Yeah.
time to start to set up some core systems in your business, especially during this particular pandemic, and the structures is going to allow you to scale. So, what we're going to be talking about is a topic that I know Sasha and I, it gets brought up a lot, which is the whole aspect of virtual assistants. We call them sometimes VAs,
Yeah.
a very, variation of those type of terms. We want to talk up to you guys about how can a VA make your business super duper productive. I know early on in my business, it was something that I always sought after to get, and I had a few VAs
Mhm.
early on in my business, and before I got the ones that I have now. But what Sasha does is stuff that's beyond the whole VA aspect, but she's very knowledgeable in the virtual assistant industry, and she's going to explain to you guys in just a second. So I'm happy that you guys are hopping on. If you're logging on, thank you, Therese and Deshawn, for joining. Please make sure that you share this out. This is definitely a very important topic. Share it to anyone who has a business. Tag anyone on here who has a business, who is doing everything by themselves. Okay. If
Mm.
you're trying to run this whole entire year being a solopreneur, you're going to find that you're going to be missing opportunities to make money. So definitely keep watching this broadcast because it's going to be amazing. So I want to introduce myself. My name is Letitia Campbell. I'm the CEO and founder of the Campbell Success Network, creator of the Sales Success Academy, and your number one sales and marketing strategist. I've been helping coaches, consultants, service providers, and network marketers for over a decade grow and scale their businesses by teaching you guys how to dominate your sales online and get more customers and clients. All right, go ahead, Sasha. Introduce yourself, sis.
Well, as she said, my name is Sasha Figueroa. I am the CEO and founder of Figueroa Virtual Services, which has grown dramatically without
Mhm.
me trying.
That's
It's
right.
amazing. I am an online business manager. I help service providers and coaches basically take control of their business and stop working in it and actually work on it.
That's
So I help them increase and
right.
scale and make things happen. Yep. So
That's right. I love how you made
I can't.
you mentioned in it
Oh,
and
there you
not.
go.
Yeah, boy, I'm sorry, there's a delay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's okay.
All right, we can hear each other now, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, finish what you're saying, love.
No, I think you're right. It happens too many times where people are working in their business and they're not actually able to scale or enjoy it. So that's why I'm glad about this topic today of VAs, because VAs are the starting point of scaling your business.
Okay, give me 1 second, Sasha. Sorry, guys. There seems to be a slight glitch. I think we're back
Yeah.
now. So if y'all can see and hear us clearly, please type in the number 1 in the chat, so we can keep going. Look. Listen, the devil, you are not going to win today. We call on the blood. We call on the blood. So really quickly, we need your help you guys who are awesome viewers. I know I see Christian on. Hey, Christian, how are you? I see you guys hopping on in the chat. Okay, just give us a 1 to make sure that we are not glitchy. All right, thanks, Darlene. Darlene put minus first. I'm like, huh?
She's like, nah, it's not happening.
Finish what you were saying, Sasha.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, finish what you were saying.
Oh no, I think this is a really good topic because a lot of people are trying to scale and they want to hire those graphic designers. They want to
Oh,
hire all these people, and you got to start. You got to walk before you run, people. You have to start from the bottom. And when I say the bottom, I don't mean as far as like they are the bottom of the barrel, but a VA is, you have to start with a VA. You have to, whether it's a full time or part time, you have to start with a VA. You have to bring that help in before you hire anybody else, and you'll wind up having to go backwards. And that's counterproductive. So
yeah, I mean, we're going to get into these 5 points, but I feel like more than anything, just essentially the communication that gets streamlined. When you do have a virtual assistant, it does help tremendously to not be the person always having to communicate with the client or the customer, and also with the rest of the team, the designers, the content creators, and all that stuff. It is a breath of fresh air because now you can focus and work on other things, because we always feel that we can, if we do it ourselves, is cost effective, it's better. But you are in fact missing income gaps in your business if you are doing everything by yourself. Now, we're not telling you guys to just jump right into getting a virtual assistant. I encourage you guys to definitely link up with myself, and so that we can work on what package and what particular process works best for you currently right now, because you can actually be hiring someone that is very professional at many things and many tools and stuff that you're not ready to use right now. So it's always like, it's about what you're ready for. Okay, so thank you so much, Sasha, for being on the show. So I told Sasha last night, I said, girl, this is your zone of genius, and I really want you to take the lead on this particular topic, and I will piggyback off of what you're saying, because you've been doing this for a very long time. I'm on the other side of the spectrum, where I am actually the business owner who is hiring VAs in OBM services. So you're on the front end. So you're the best at really telling us what to do and what not to do. All right. Are you ready, sis?
I am. Believe me, awesome. You're going to have to shut me up because there's a lot of information.
lot. And you guys, those of you guys who are watching, are you guys ready in the chat to hear this? Let me see some readies. I see a couple of comments coming in. Hey, Deshaun. Deshaun said this is a great topic. Deshaun, I feel this is the perfect topic for you, especially for what you're doing. Bethany Burns, what's up, sis? How are you?
Good morning,
this is an amazing topic. Yes, as your particular network marketing business grows, Bethany, and you do other businesses as well. This is an awesome topic for you. Yes. Hey, Tamara. Good morning. Thank you for hopping on. So yeah, guys, are y'all ready for this? Because we're going to be really just mainly, hitting the whole virtual assistants subject here on why 5 ways virtual assistants can make you more productive. How many of y'all want to be more productive in your business, right? Most of us are busy, but we're not productive. Yes, we're not productive. All right, Deshaun said we are ready. Awesome. Thank you for that, Deshaun. All right, so we're going to jump on into the first point, which VAs, they put your processes in place, right? If insufficiencies cause business between 20 to 30% of their revenue each year. Sort of explain, what does that mean, Sasha, and why is it so important?
Okay, so one thing you said earlier that was it comes up a lot is people say they don't have the funds to hire a VA, but when you're doing everything in your business, you're losing funds anyway. So you're basically you're potentially losing more money by not having a VA. Again, not telling you have to run out. You got to make sure you're processed at the beginning and you're in the right position to have a VA. But if you are in a position you're thinking, well, I don't want that expense, you're probably losing more money anyways. So you really should look at having a VA and at least really figure out what it is that you're having to do and what is it that you can delegate. Creating the process. Let's say if you are doing email checking every morning, or if you're doing just capturing the people that commented on a live like this, or if you need to actually reach out to those people and just send a quick little message that says, thank you for being on my live. Do you have any questions? Just silly things like that. If you are doing those things, that is busy work. It's very important, but it's still busy work. And as a CEO and the owner of the company, you shouldn't be doing it. That is a waste of time. So with that in mind, you have to make sure that every task that you have is being handed over to your VA so they can actually take care of the process of it. One thing you have to remember though is a VA doesn't, you had said this before, and I don't mean to, I don't want to sound like I'm trying to undermine you, but correct a little bit. A VA is not going to be the person that actually interacts with the team as much as you think. The team, your VA can, but it's going to be very hard for you to find a VA that's going to actually sit in that place of talking to the team and making sure that the tasks are done. The VA is looking for you to actually tell them what needs to be done, the basic VA. If you find a good VA, that someone that's, you know, higher scale, they will interact with the team, but you're going to wind up having to pay that pretty penny. And I know that because, you know, that was the position I was in. So as far as putting the processes in place, all you do is whatever you're telling the VA to do, have them write it down. Let your VA actually create your SOPs for you. When you reach somebody like me, which is the OBM, you have to have some kind of structure, and we have to work on the SOPs. But if you have a VA at the beginning that actually puts the processes together in place for you, and they're not even thinking about it, you're already a few steps ahead. Absolutely. So whether it be you record what you're doing, you record how you interact on social media, whether it be that you're writing it down, you know, scribbling it down, and you hand it over to that VA, have them write it up nice, orderly, and nice and neat. You hand it over to them, have them actually create your SOPs for you. Just because they're the VA and not the OBM, which is something I do, they could still create your systems with you. I mean, honestly, that's the best person to actually create it with you, to put them in place. So, and then you had said the efficiency costs between 20 and 30% of the revenue each year. Honestly, if you really sit down and write everything that you're doing, the time it takes, you know, break down the fees that you get for your clients and break it down on an hourly process, just take a second and do it. You'll see that you're actually losing way more than 20-30%. Because people they just look at it, okay, I charge $1,000 for such and such. Well, how many hours do you work on that client? So now break it down. Now, all the stuff that you're doing, what could you have handed over to a VA that you're paying $200, you know, $300 a month for, or even $5-10 an hour? You're losing $200, but guess what? Because you had more time to market instead of 5 hours a month, now you have 10 hours a month to market. Now you have more clients. Now you have more money. So that VA's fee is nothing. It's nothing. And, you know, I mean, that's literally, you just have them work from the bottom up, put the processes in place. That way, if it's a sad truth, but VAs don't always stay. Yeah, I know you're lucky enough to have one VA that you've been working with, Leticia, for a while, but that is very seldom that you get a VA that you that actually understands your stuff to work with you. If you have your process in place and you go on vacation, you're like, oh, I got it. My VA, she's killing it. And something happens, whether she's being shady or something happens with her life and she dips out on you. Now you have to come back. Now you have to train someone new when all you had to do was have her put the process in place in the beginning and just hand it over to the new person.
That's right. That's right.
So it's very important to communicate to, hey, this is what we do. Write it down. I have clients that tell me, Sasha, whatever you did, make a loom, write it down. They don't even want to know what I did. They just want it there in the file. Write it down, make a video. That's it.
Right. That's right. You know, and I like how you're putting some clarity on a lot of things that I'm saying and that, you know, other people are assuming and thinking as far as the whole virtual assistant thing. And what I'm hearing also is, as an entrepreneur, we also have to make sure our pricing structures is correct. Because if we're doing something that's higher ticket or medium level ticket and we're not pricing it right, as you mentioned, because we're not thinking about all the behind the scenes stuff, the communication back and forth, the tasks, the projects and things like that happens. And so I totally get that aspect of just saying, make sure your pricing's right, because you want to still get out there and market and not have to work with 60, 70 people on the back end and basically overwhelm your team. So what you're saying is, on the communication side, let's just talk about that for a minute before we move on. When it comes to communicating with the team, right, versus the client, you're saying that the virtual assistant is more get them the task of communicating with the private client, and the team is more of the OBM side. Is that correct?
Yeah. The VA, if it's your VA, it's basically that's your assistant. Now, if you have a good VA, she or he will step in and help delegate within the team. But it's very seldom that when you hire somebody, that if you tell them from the beginning that that's what you want them to be, a go-between, they might not do it. Or if they do it, they're going to ask you for more money. So, the thing with a VA, most VAs, not all, they're very reactive. So they're waiting for you to. They're waiting for you to tell them what to do.
Yeah.
They're not stepping in a role that says, okay, I know that so and so graphic designer didn't do the graphic yet, but I know that you need it done by such and such date. No, that's not. They don't. Most of them don't care about that. They care about the task at hand. Especially if they're hourly, they want to make sure that their time is being spent on stuff they need to do, so they're getting paid. Now, a good one will step in, but honestly, if you have a good one and you're paying a low amount, you're going to lose them, because they're going to help you at the beginning, but it's going to become a lot.
Yeah.
It's going to become a lot, because an OBM, that's why you can't be a VA and an OBM at the same time. You can't be mixed in and taking time on task and day-to-day operations and still make sure that the team is being managed like they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
You have to find you have to know. One thing I told one of my breakthrough clients is write down everything that you would want a VA to do. And write down everything you don't want to do, and write down stuff that you think that you can delegate to somebody. And then off of that, you'll know what type of VA you're looking for, because there's an array of virtual assistants out there. There's some that only do social media. There's some that only do data entry. There's some that only do email marketing. And if you don't know what it is you need, you don't know who to hire.
Okay, so let me just get these questions down, because those of y'all who are watching, y'all need to write this down. This is important before you even consider, because I know we're creating a lot of excitement now on this subject, and I know the first thing you're going to do is say, okay, let me just find a VA. Let me go outsource.
Slow down.
Slow down. Yes, let's slow down. Let's slow you guys down for a minute. And these questions are very important. So you said, write down everything you want a VA to do, right? Yeah. And then also write down everything that we don't want to do. What's the third question?
And then write down what you think you can delegate off of the stuff that you actually do. Because just because you like doing it doesn't mean you have to do it.
Got it. So whatever it is that I do in fact like to do, how can I delegate? But then it's an aspect of certain things I can't delegate, because I can't clone myself in a VA when it comes to the marketing side, going live, Then
that's yours.
That's yours. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. You keep that as yours, but I'm sure there's lots of little things.
And I know. You throw that brick at me, baby. I'm ready for it. No, I need that, because
the biggest thing is
I've been talking on the back end. I literally have a file on my computer here where I'm setting up everything that I do in my business. And there's certain things, in fact, that on the back end that I just love to do, but I could give it to somebody else.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally get it.
I like cooking. I'm not gonna go out and be a chef though.
Nope, not at all.
I enjoy it.
Hire a cook, so I don't have to.
Exactly. You got to remember, just because you are good at it, just because is it going to increase revenue? If you are the main person in the company and you are the face of the company, everything you're doing has to be high level KPIs. It has to be stuff that is constantly bringing you money, and everybody else could do the back end. You need to be the face. Yeah. I know. I am so looking forward to that file, because I know it's going to take me
it's going to be long, girl.
So many days to read
it. I've been building my business, my company, the Camel Success Network, online for, I say almost a decade, but it's probably been over a decade, because I've been working our business many years, but either we wasn't, charging our worth, or we just didn't think of us value.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that I do. And also what I'm adding on there is things that I want to go to the next level with, like tasks processes that I want to create. And this is what's helping me. It's like a whole brain dumping on the SOB side.
Yeah.
SOP side, sorry. That's really, really opening my eyes up to things. Dr. Ray made a good point in the chat. She says, don't outsource the zone of genius. Everything else is negotiable. Everything else. And that's me. Even though there's things I like to do on the back end, I got to negotiate that to get done on the other side.
Yeah.
So listen, everyone, before we go to the next, I want you guys to do me a quick favor. If you got any value from watching this so far, we've only been on for about maybe 20 minutes. Please, please, please pass this broadcast on share it out on your pages, start a watch party. And here's what I'm going to do. Those of you who either start a watch party or share this out, put in hashtag shared or hashtag watch party. And if you do in fact have a business, I'm offering you the opportunity to actually promote your business right here in the chat. Even if you're watching this on the replay, put your intro up, who you are, what you do, and if you have an email or a website that where anybody in this, particular live can reach you. Because here's the thing about live streaming, guys, that's so important. Live streaming is forever, right? So we're doing this live, engaging, interacting, posting the comments on the screen. But what's so important that no matter what happens, even if this gets shared, guess what? The comments stay attached to the live forever. So you never know a future opportunities, seeds that you could be planting on this broadcast that can sprout next month or even tomorrow or next year, that can give you a customer or client, all from them watching you put your information in the chat. But here's the thing, you got to share first. You got to share or you got to start a watch party. Okay. And then you can promote your business in the chat, and I will pause every now and again during this live to put your business on the screen. That's what I love about StreamYard. We can like put your business on the screen. And you guys know my videos, I syndicate all my content. It goes on my YouTube channel, it goes on my podcast, it goes everywhere. So we do, pretty good with that. Pretty good with that. So let's go back to the comments real quick, Sasha, before we hop on. Y'all are really engaged. Dr. Ray said focus is increase of value. Focus is increase of revenue. Focus is increase of revenue.
Yeah.
Right? Dr. Ray said I'm overdue to get back with Sasha.
Yes, you are, Dr. Ray.
Here's the thing. Even I know exactly what Dr. Ray's talking about. Dr. Ray has several businesses. I have a business and looking to launch my next, I call it my pillar under my Campbell Success Network brand. It's okay to just like pause for a moment and just look at that paper and just think. Like, I have papers in this notebook where I got little spider webs, like this is what I have, and then I have all these extensions of it, because you want to get it right. You really want to get it right. Working with Sasha is well worth the investment. I'm telling you guys this right now. If you really want to grow and scale your business, it's well worth the investment. A graphic designer to pay for a graphic, whether you're doing a summit or a product launch or course launch, and then that graphic gets you put it in your library of photos. There's no really rollover there. But what Sasha does, and what we're doing this whole big collaboration, is that this is going to absolutely give you that return on your investment and more. Hold on. Lozada. Got it. I just saw your mom pop one. I want to get it right. I got it right.
Yep, my mama's here.
My mama's here. Put up some emojis, Miss Lozada. Thank you.
Lozada. Yep.
Yes, I'm happy to see you got one. Yeah, it's a big old fan. I like that. Yeah.
I talk about you, Letitia. I was like, Mom, you have to get in. It is $9. Get it. And she said the first day of watching your training, she actually caught the Monday training. She was like, "Can I watch this on replay? I got so many notes."
I know, right?
I'm like, "Yes, you just watch it now, and then watch it later." And I was like, "Don't worry." I was like, "I got notes for you." I was like, "I got them. We're good."
Yeah, you gotta watch it again and again and again. Yeah, what Sasha's talking about is my membership club. I have it scrolling here on the bottom of the screen. It's an amazing membership club to be a part of. We do weekly trainings in there. It's just jam-packed with a lot of information for those of you who want to learn more about generating more sales in your business, marketing to branding, all kinds of topics. This month, we're basing our content mainly on marketing because it's so important. Everybody needs to get out there and self-promote. So anyone who's interested, is $9.
$9.
Don't ask me what's included. Go to bit.ly/sales success today and learn more about it. It's $9. I get on no calls, having no conversations with y'all. Listen, I'm not here for the foolish. It was great to see your mom in the program.
Don't get started, Letitia. Move on.
Okay, I'm not gonna go there. I don't know about later on though. I can't put guarantee later on, because
we'll see.
That goes on. And this is what I want to talk about, especially with what you do, Sasha. There's a lot of people that don't get the value of it. And I'm starting to really realize that more and more each day, especially now. Like, I get that everyone is, not everyone, let me not say that. A portion of the world right now can't afford to make a large investment. So if that is the case right now, if you're watching and that is the case, reaching out to either one of us about this will not be beneficial to you, because if you're only able to afford $100 a month and via OBM services, guess what? That's not going to work. Okay? Right. It's just not. Yeah. No, what I mean by those of y'all who want to scale big, like I had a conversation with a lady on Instagram about this the other day, and she had a low budget, but she wanted all, like, you know what I'm saying, Sasha, like all of this, like followers, back end stuff. And listen, you can't invest $100 for a $12,000 worth of assets, work, time, energy, and effort. And so in what Sasha and I do, we do turn a lot of people down, because not everybody, whether they're not financially ready or their structure in their business is not ready. So this is a real conversation, guys. It's not just another talk. I know a lot of people do shows and they talk about VAs, OBMs, business, all that stuff. This is for you guys who want to create a company, okay? Whether you're a coach, consultant, or network marketer, you still have to create a company within yourself, like the Camel Success Network. That's my company. Sasha, your company's, what's the name of your company again?
Virtual Services.
Figaro Virtual Services. That's a company. It's like if you worked in the corporate world and you're seeing all those guys and girls in the suits come down to the office, that's the status, that a level of conversation that we are talking about this morning. We're not talking about to those of y'all who are like, oh, I just want to make $200 to $500 a month. No. Okay. No, I mean, you could, get a VA to help you, but this is really if you want to scale, scale, and whatever's going on in the world, online businesses, being an entrepreneur is like the new wave of the future. And I said this, and I'm gonna say this again: the job that you're in right now, your company is looking for it to be function without you. Okay, so one day we're gonna look outside and see a machine picking up our garbage. I really feel that, probably maybe 5 years or 10 years from now, but we're in 2020 right now, and I want y'all to really, whether you want to close your eyes and envision this or just write this number down on a piece of paper, we're in 2020 right now. In 10 years, it's going to be 2030, a whole nother decade. Where do you see yourself? Do you really see yourself at that job? Do you really see yourself behind that desk or behind that computer right now? Because some of y'all are working your full-time jobs from home. Do you really see yourself? Okay, if not, then come on. This conversation is going to get you to that point of financial freedom, having that freedom to do whatever the heck you want to do, right? So we're in like the start of a new decade, and it's time to stop overthinking things and just make things happen, right? Get things going. So this is the type of level of conversation we're having this morning, because it is very important that working with women who are really serious about not just creating a brand, but actually creating a company where they have a team, they have, all these systems in place, right? So that way, 2030, they're way further ahead than they were you are in 2020. So this is very, very important, guys. If you haven't shared this out, share this out. So let's jump on over to the next point. Sasha, if you are ready, sis.
Yep.
Awesome. So number 2, they filter communication. Let's talk. You was talking about that briefly before, but break it down a little bit.
Okay, so one thing about communicating with people, whether it be a lead or somebody that's reaching out on social media, not every communication you have to touch as the CEO. It's just not necessary. And that's kind of goes in with, you have to have a system in place, even as a small. Systems are very important. Even when you don't have an OBM, you have to have them yourself, because you might have them in your head, and you probably do. You have, okay, when I see somebody contact me, this is what I do. But it's just so normal for you that you don't think about it. You have to think about it and write it down. So when you do have a VA, you could say, every time somebody messages this, that they're interested in this, this is what I want you to do. If the person I have, let me give you an example. I have a thing on my scheduler that it's a form that people have to fill out before they can even finish scheduling the appointment. And then when they schedule the appointment, obviously it goes to me. But there's questions on there that kind of weeds them in and out whether they're a good lead for me or not, in the sense of, is their business in a certain place where I can actually help them right now? It's the same thing with a virtual assistant. That form is basically a virtual assistant of mine. So you need to have a VA in place to weed out the people that you actually have to talk to. It's kind of like a receptionist when it comes to a CEO's business. You can't talk to most CEOs because you can't get past the reception.
You can't. No.
The little old lady in the front, or young little girl young lady that's sitting in with glasses, and she's like, Mr. So-and-so is not in, Mrs. So-and-so is not in. It's the same, right? They're probably not, but that don't matter. That's what your VA. You have to start looking at yourself. You are not a hobbyist. You are a company. You have to start treating it like a company. Your VA is essentially your receptionist at the front door at the office. Let them talk to people in advance. You can have it set up where that people don't know they're talking to the VA, or you can have it set up where people know that it's the virtual assistant. Hey, I'm the virtual assistant of so-and-so. I'm reaching out to touch base and see if what it is that you're looking for with Letitia, and then by the time they get weeded out, then you have 5 people that are now actually solid people that are going to help your business. And it's not to be mean.
No, it's not.
If somebody is not in a position that you're going to help them, why would you work with them? Because all you're going to do is hurt them. You're going to hurt their pockets. You're not going to increase in any way. And even though a VA, you're dishing out money, the ultimate goal is to make it to where that VA is helping you, at the end, basically make more money.
Absolutely. And it's like, it also helps you with the vetting process, because like I just said, now that the world is where the world is right now, everyone is trying to venture towards building a business online or taking their business and scaling it. So I do discovery calls once a week, and what I'm getting is, for some of them, is that they're just excited about building a business, but they're not really serious about moving forward.
Right.
So I have to go back and say, well, I got to figure out how can I vet them better? Because yes, we have questionnaires and things like that, and they can fill in all the right answers. But when you go on a call with that person, once you give them a price, they're like, oh, because if you want to really scale big, the investment needs to be made, and not everybody's ready for that level. But when I'm having a conversation with someone, though, I want to talk to somebody who's ready for that level. And if they're not, then it honestly is a waste of my time. It's a waste of their time. So I think having somebody to, like what you're saying to me today and to the audience, is that having somebody like an actual human being in between to sort of vet that, because it's but so much you can gain from a survey. It really, really is. Because even though you put in there, somebody's going to ask, well, why don't you just put how much can that person invest? But they could select anything. How much can you invest currently, with the quotation marks next to that word? You're on a call with them, like, well, my husband's not working, and you hear all these stories, which I totally understand, right? But this is a business, and the conversations I have one-on-one with people are for those who are ready to move forward into something that's
right,
that's help them get to their goal. So I totally get what you're saying. That filter communication doesn't mean all aspects of communication in your business.
Yeah, you want to talk to the right people. You want to make sure your time is valued, their time is valued, and a VA is a good position to have.
That's right.
There's an interesting question in there that I want
to jump over to Dr. Ray.
Yeah, that was the question.
Does that job bring joy to your life? Be honest.
Dr. Ray, are you asking me, or are you saying in general?
Yeah, I can tell you. Are you asking Sasha or me? Yeah. I'm just asking in general.
Until she answers our secondary question, our question.
Yeah, let's take this.
I can tell you that when a VA is a VA, they do it because a good VA, you would be able to tell a good VA from a not good VA, because it takes a special person to do a VA job, because you have to be in a position where you take ownership and you take control, but at the same time you're waiting to get direction from the CEO. So you have to, and this is gonna, I know this is gonna come out wrong, but you have to know your place in the sense of you are still waiting for the CEO to tell you what needs to be done, but at the same time you have to add value. So if you can't be that you know, that middle ground, and you can't sit in that middle ground, if the VA has a hard time, if you say, hey, you know, I want you to how are you taking orders from a management position, ask them that. If they say, oh, well, I don't like being, you know, I don't like being told what to do, well, as a VA, you're literally waiting for me to tell you what to do.
That's very true.
So if they tell you they don't like that, and they're thinking more like, oh, you're trying to be, you know, I'm my own business owner, you're trying to be my boss. No, but you're working with me and for me in a sense. So I have to make sure I can communicate with you and tell you what needs to be done. If you can't reciprocate, if you can't take that in, then you're not going to be a good fit. So the person that's a VA, honestly, if they're doing it, they have to enjoy it.
They do, and they do it because they like to be behind the scenes. I know, you know, a few VAs that don't want to be out there on the forefront. You know, they don't have big old social media platforms and want to be that in the spotlight. You know, they love the aspect of helping
behind the scenes
or a business owner reach their goal. That's their fulfillment. They have a serving spirit.
Yeah,
you know, they don't have that. They're not trying to be an influencer or the top guru marketer in the world as on a VA aspect.
Yeah,
they enjoy helping on the behind the scenes, and those are the VAs that me personally I enjoy to like, versus the ones that want to be on the forefront and on the spotlight. And I'm sorry, because they understand, you know, those are the ones who work behind the scenes. They understand the whole recipe
dynamic.
Sorry about that. You know, and that's what it is. If you have somebody that's like, you know, just like money hungry, or just don't respect the whole industry itself, that doesn't always work out. Those are the ones that don't find much joy, because they don't get a lot of people, you know, coming in like that. They work with one person, that person sort of gives them minimal work or whatever, and then it just goes.
Yeah, I actually came across that as a VA. I was getting paid and the people weren't using my services, and because I'm not a piece of poop person, I was like, hey, you know, you have all this time that you have available and you're not giving me anything. Because I was so like, I was like, hey, I would contact them, let me know what you need me to do, oh, I see you doing this, you want me to have part in that, blah 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 blah. And they were like, no, and then I actually wound up having that contract end because they said I can't use you. And that's not a bad thing, it's a good thing, especially because I could have that slot for another client that actually needs my help.
Absolutely.
And I enjoy it. And yes, I mean, I lost that contract in a sense of a money aspect, but I rather actually be doing something. I want to do it. I want to work in my field. Why else would I be in it? Yeah. So that's a good question. But if they don't, you could tell from the beginning. You could tell you don't like what they're doing.
You could tell. Like, I work with VAs that were promoting that they were VAs, but wasn't really VAs. Like, you know, I was looking at certain things that they could do, that they did, that I was like, okay, but can you do this? So the problem that some of you guys, I'm just speaking from my personal experience. So I had a VA that actually wanted me to pay her more, and I was fine with that. But I had a list of, okay, you want to get paid more, just like a job, more responsibilities, right? Because I have to make up the difference of what you're asking for. So I said, okay, so can you help me with the funnels, like the setup and things like that? I can hand that over to you. I can hand over the email stuff over to you. I can hand over certain back end stuff over to you. Would you be okay? Oh, I'm not knowledgeable of that. Well, that's what I need you to do. If you want to get paid this much more money, you can't get paid this much more money doing the same thing you're doing right now, you know, which is on a minimal level of task. So you will get VAs like that likes to play this money game with you, right? Because that happened to me in the past, but they can't contribute any more than what they can do already. So if you're thinking like this is what it is, like this is the normal relationship with VAs, you're going to keep that VA, right? Pay them more and still be doing 99% of the work, and they're only giving that 1% of contribution to your business. So sometimes your break with a VA is not so peaceful, you know, which gotta be, listen, when you build a business, you gotta go. I was okay with letting that girl go. Okay, 100%. Because a lot of times, yes, you build friendships and you build camaraderie and stuff like that, but it's still a business. And a lot of women don't understand that on that VA level if they're not really, really genuinely a VA. They may could help you with different things and stuff and think like, okay, then I'm just gonna call myself a VA then. But they haven't done the research on training on their side to contribute better to your business, right? Or like I have one VA that where she's not professional at doing everything, but she has other people that also that, you know, sort of like an agency that they where they do stuff too. That's different. And I actually appreciate that in people, that if this is not my zone of genius, let me find somebody who can do that, so I can still do all these things while I having to learning 1,000 things to do, you know. That's very important. Yeah, we see a lot of you guys hopping on here. If you're watching this live, say hello and let us know where you're watching this from. Awesome, awesome. Okay, let's go over to the next question, number 3, which is they capture and organize data.
Yeah, that's kind of like what we said earlier about if you have people coming in from a live, like we'll use this as an example. I know that you know, you have your VA who actually is on the live, and if something pops up where a link is needed or something like that, or somebody can be contacted, she's on top of it, where she's making sure that she's contacting them in the here and now, where you're able to focus on this live, you're able to focus on this communication that we're having. So when it comes to capturing and organizing data, not only do you want them to get the people that were on the live, but if, you know, if the person seemed like they were interested, you know, try to find out, you know, hey, let's connect. If is there a number that you think, you know, Letitia can reach at, or would you like her to direct message you? What's your link for Facebook? What's this? How can we communicate? All that stuff needs to be put somewhere, and all that stuff has to be organized somewhere. So you need to have a VA that will do that for you. And one thing I will say is don't be afraid to ask for things, but just make sure you're being honest about what your expectations are. You know, don't say, oh, well, I just want you to do A, B, and C. And then later, you know, down the line, you're asking, hey, I need you to do this, this, and this. Because not only are you not going to get that, you potentially can, but you're going to probably make them feel like it's not a fit. You're going to lose the VA altogether.
Yeah, like I do text. I would send a whole message, then I would send a voice message, and then more often than not, I do like where I create a video of what I need done, because that way you can see it. I'll share my screen and I'll show examples. Because you could say, you could tell yourself, like a lot of times people will say, oh, I want a graphic, I want this, I want that, I want this process, but giving a more visual of it, I feel works better. It's better communication. They can go back and re-listen or re-watch, and now your level of expectations is going to be, you know, presented at a better level than just saying, you know, just writing and then expecting them to get it, you know.
Right. And with the data, I mean, honestly, it's simple. It's not that data entry or data, you know, getting the data and capturing it is hard. It's just very tedious and time consuming.
It's time. It takes too long.
It's time. It's all about time. That's the whole point of VA. If you think about a VA, think about the time that you're going to be you're able to spend outside of your business.
Side of that, yeah.
You know, think about it that way, because metrics, you still need to know your metrics. You still need to know, all that stuff is so important. What's working, what's not working. If you're doing automations and you're doing A/B testing, you know, you need to know that stuff. You need to know what worked and what didn't work. But at the same time, you're not going to sit here for hours and like, okay, I gotta accumulate this, I gotta accumulate this, I gotta accumulate this. Meanwhile, that whole hour that you just spent, you could have had 2 discovery calls with potential clients.
That's right. And they could have did data, and then on your weekly team calls, they will tell you the results, you know, in person. Right. I have a quick question though. It's and I think that brings to the next question, but I want to ask you here. Is it better to do hourly when it comes to the payment side, hourly or task per task?
One, it really depends on the person that you're
Mm-hmm.
that you're bringing on, because if the person only has a lot of time for a new client, that might decide for you.
Mm-hmm.
And it also depends on the task that you're doing, because email management is, if they check it and then they see what's there and then they move on. That's like a 20-minute thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I didn't, when I did it, I did hourly, I did hours, an hours package, but I didn't do hourly. So the reason I did that is because when you're doing hourly, you have to have a big trust situation that you are giving them tasks that actually is not going to be dramatic and say, oh, well, I'm going to pay you $20 an hour or $10 an hour, but I need you to do a project by tomorrow. You know? And then be like, well, wait, I got to pay how much for that? And meanwhile, you know, it's going to take the VA hours to do it, and then have a complaint about what you're having to pay. So if you have a, then you have the VA, if the VA is all about the money and you don't know that yet, that it's just about the money, they might say something that takes them 20 minutes. Oh, this took me 2 hours to do. And you have to trust them and kind of compare with what you got in return with what the time that they took. Then you have to evaluate, is it the project that's taking a long time, or is it the person that's taking a long time?
Exactly. What I like that we do is I can actually see what you've been doing. Like, it's like a whole portal that where if you're doing a graphic or doing some data entry for me, I can actually see how long you spent on it. It's like a
project management is so important.
Yeah. It's like a clock in, clock out.
Yeah, that's good. But see, you have systems in place already. So that's why that, you know, this. If you didn't have those in place, it would literally, you have to kind of, what are you doing? What are you doing? How much time left? Blah, blah, blah. You have systems in place. So you like, well, no, I know what they're doing. I got it. They clock in, they clock out. I know what I'm doing. But not everybody has that.
Exactly. And also, if you're starting off initially, obviously what I've noticed that certain things, certain tasks that took 2 hours before for them now takes probably about an hour or less, because once you get the systems going,
right,
you can speed up the process faster, like for templates and things like that. But if they're still spending 2 hours on the same thing for a whole freaking, there's a problem. And like you said, communication is important. Be honest and say, well, how can we gap that timing down of you doing those 5 different projects or tasks? Because it seems like it's the same amount of hours. And granted, certain things they're always going to take an hour or 20 minutes to complete. But the simplified ones where you got the system down, boom, 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 should take less and less time. So that's another way to lower the overhead and also give them other things that they can do, you know, especially if you're trying to add more things to your business. They can say, okay, let me take care of that, rather than hiring a whole nother person to take
care of but that's where the issue comes in, Letitia, because if the person doesn't want to if they're like betting on a certain amount of money, if you don't have that trust and the person is not a fully honest person, and they know they need to make $500 that month, it doesn't matter if it takes them only 20 minutes. If for the last couple months it's taken them almost an hour, it could potentially, they say, oh no, it takes that long. But then you have to be in a position to know by tracking what they're doing, it's not taking that long. And if it's not taking that long, do you get a new VA, or do you make it a point? Like it becomes a whole thing. And that hourly for me is, unless you have a system like you said where they're clocking in, clocking out, it's drama. It is drama. When I was working as a VA, I had a package and they had 20 hours, and I would tell them, hey, you still got time. What do you need me to do? Because I wasn't worried about the money anymore. I already I already got paid. So now I was actually, since I already got paid my fee, my retainer for the month, I was now focusing on just, okay, you got 20 hours. Let's get stuff done.
Yeah.
You know, what else we got? This much time. Let's get it done.
Yeah. Well, the hourly system works extremely well for me, the whole clock in, clock out thing, because what I'm finding, especially now, we have rollover. You know, like I think last month I had about maybe 32 hours rollover from the month before, because now things are starting to be more systemized, you know. So that's it. And like you mentioned, like if you're working with somebody who's honest, you know, and you can actually see what's going on, you'll see, oh, I have a whole because I don't, some VAs would not do rollover hours. Our team does do that. It just works out better because now I can give more stuff, or I could pass over some hours to another project, and then still continue that contract of payment, every month. So yeah.
So it really depends on the person you have and where your business is, because if you're going to track time and you're able to track time, that's great. That's very beneficial to do hourly. But if you're not going to track time and you just want to get the work done and just not have to worry about it, which a lot of business owners, they don't want to pay attention to the time. They
have to, and that's the whole aspect of looking at your business as a company. If you had a Fortune 500 company or a brick and mortar, you have a clock in, clock out system,
right?
You even with the most trusted employees, you can't take for granted or be so trusting the fact they're coming in from exactly 9 to exactly 5 and taking a break in the middle. That's too much trust to put.
And you still have to pay attention to the time. Just because they're clocking in, clocking out, pay attention to what's being done, because like you said, they can say that they clocked out, but working as a VA, they're working from their home. So there's a lot of things, and this is not to scare you to not have, but to prepare you to have, in place and come to the table. And a good VA, they're not going to run. Somebody who's not secure and their foundation is not good, they're going to be like,
you're right.
You know a lot. You're going to be too into my space. But the right VA, you're going to lay this all out for them. You're going to tell them what they want, what you want them to do. You're going to tell them your expectations. They're going to tell you their expectations. They should have expectations. If they don't, I'm telling you, they are good. They're probably going to disappear. If they don't have structure in their own business, you're not going to hear from them. One day they're just going to be done.
That's right. And working with a VA that's a horrible communicator, get rid of them right away. I'm sorry. That's my non-negotiable. You got to be good at communication. I'm a really good communicator. When I get something sent to me, I'm like, okay, I'm responsive right away, unless it gets lost, in Messenger and email, which does happen from time to time, especially the days that I'm getting a lot of correspondence. But I've had VAs that was just horrible communicators. And that doesn't work for your business, And just like I mentioned, last week, I was saying how the relationship from a business owner to virtual assistant, it needs to be respected on both sides. I've seen a lot of people. I had a mentor I was working with last time who treated her VAs like garbage, like literally, like the way she spoke to them in front of clients, it made me uncomfortable, So I've learned from that experience is that, VAs are not your employees or your staff. They're working alongside your business. It's a different relationship than the aspect of, oh, this person is working under me. They're part, you know what I mean? They're humans too, and they also have business. Have you ever experienced that, Sasha?
Yes. Yeah. I had a client who she paid me very low, but that's the pay that I set. So I can't really complain because that's what I set. But because this was very early on, because I didn't put my expectations of her, and I thought that it wasn't just her. I mentally was like, I'm her assistant. That assistant word, it's very big in people who are just starting out in the VA world. You think, oh, well, I'm there at their beck and call. No. You have to be able to take direction. Obviously, you have to take direction because they're the business owner. But at the same time, you have to hold yourself up. And in that position, I didn't. So she asked me to do things that were way over what we agreed on. And I did them because that's who I am. I'm not a slacker. I'm getting things done. But then as time, went on, I had a coach and things like that. And I realized that I was letting this person just walk all over me. And when it came, I gave that person outs left and right to end the contract because I wanted them to end it, because I wanted to end it. So the moment that it came a day to actually re-sign the contract, I was like, no, I'm done. I'm out. But that's not how it was the whole time. I was doing everything. And you can know if your VA, and this is to people as a business owner, but at the same time, if you're looking to be a VA yourself, if you are not honest and communicate with the person that they're doing something, you know, or you're uncomfortable with it, or you feel like they're taking advantage of your time, you have to say something. Just like if the VA is not doing what they said they were going to do as a business owner, it goes both ways. You have to say something. And if you don't communicate to the person that you're not, you know, hey, this is not what I signed on for, and vice versa, this is not what I hired you for, then it's just going to be the business is just going to suffer on both ends. And so I had to cut ties myself. And, you know, it sucked because ending a contract, you know, especially when you're just starting out, it's not beneficial at all. But you have to be honest with yourself. You have to be honest with what your expectations are, and just tell them, no, it's not a good fit. And it goes both ways as a business owner. Don't emotions. You start working with the VA, you get very close, like you said, relationship. You have to be honest. There's people that were my clients that I'm actually still friends with, but we don't work together anymore because it was an you know, myself and themselves. It was a professional. We knew if it's not a good fit for you and it's not a good fit for me, it's wasting our time. It doesn't mean that we're not a good fit as friends, but business is totally different, people. It's different. So if you see that a VA is not a good fit, don't, oh, well, I don't want to, you know, I know her, she has to pay her babysitter and she has to pay this. No, because you have to do the same thing. And if your tasks are not getting done and you're paying money out and your tasks are not getting finished, it's you're wasting money, you're wasting their time. So I have dealt with it, but you know, over time it becomes now where people, you know, they kind of tell me, oh, you know, you shouldn't be charging so much, you know, you're a VA, I'm gonna go here instead, and blah blah blah, blah. And I'm like, I know what I'm offering, so move on.
You need your peace of mind, you know, that I think that's what's so important. And you know, you need your peace of mind, you know. And even as somebody who's offered courses, I offer courses and services, there's times where I reevaluate whether or not I'm going to continue on with a contract with a client. You know what I'm saying? Where I actually sit and I'm like, you know what, let me finish up whatever it is this particular client wants me to get done, or the team to get done for her. And then after this, once it's done, I'm not picking up on this person. And because especially for those on the VA side, you probably think when you have one bad experience that every entrepreneur is, you know, online business owner is that way.
And the same for CEOs looking for a VA. It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing. You think, and I made that example early on. I said, you know, I assume from that experience that, okay, I'm not going to be bothered with one, because it's like everyone is like that, you know, and they just still feel in a sense of, well, I still need to delegate this, still need to go delegate that. And let me just go out there and just feed people out first, you know, before anything. So I totally agree with that. But I know more often than not with the VA industry, they deal with that, comes up where they deal with, you know, men or women who treat them like the help. I've heard that term before, reference to VAs from the last person I was working with. Like, oh, we're going to ask the help. And that word, the help, is like, I don't like that word.
Yeah, I had one project. I had one project client where it was my day off, and she asked me to do something, which was fine. I had no problem because I was going in her direction to deliver something. And it was a personal day. And because of how I was dressed, it was an issue. But I was like, you contacted me on my personal
on your day off. Yeah.
So you get what you get. I didn't have to come out here and bring this. And, you know, and that sucked. It was a really crappy thing, that, you know, the conversation, but at the same time I had to, and I took it like, you know, thank you for your input, blah 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 blah, this that. But no, it was my day off.
It was your day off. Yeah.
And like, you cannot control, and I'm working, you know, I'm a virtual assistant. I delivered stuff to you, and I'm a virtual assistant.
Exactly. How are you a regular assistant? You know, that's the respect level there. That's the respect level there that I was just talking about. And it's like, you know, yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
that's the respect level there.
You know what though, Leticia, I couldn't complain too much because I agreed to do it.
Exactly. You accept your role. You know, another thing, it's like, go ahead, sis. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying, like, if you do not set your expectations from the beginning, and say these are non-negotiable, You know, this is negotiable. This is negotiable. These are non-negotiable.
Mhm.
People are going to do what you allow them to do. And it goes both ways.
Absolutely.
A VA is going to take your time if you allow them to. If you're not giving them tasks to do and you're not staying on top of them and you're not keeping them accountable, they're going to, you know, not all of them, but you will get some that would just be like, well, they're paying me, so I'm just going to wait till
Like
they
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's very important that for those of you who have people, whether they're your mentor or whether you're working with them, now I look at how people treat their team, because how they treat their team, their VAs, their OBMs, and all that, the designers, they're gonna, you know, if they're treating them good, they're gonna treat you good the same. If you see how if they're communicating in a respectful manner, and you're seeing that, it's great. You're gonna get that same thing, right? That same feedback. But if it's like they're talking to them disrespectfully or being short-tempered, if there's ever an issue that you're having with that person, it's going to be the same thing. And that's what I realized, is when I saw the disrespect, I would then say, well, she knows she better not talk to me like that. And there was a situation where that did happen. I had to literally put it in place. But then I had to say, well, Letitia, you saw that already. You know, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. So that's very important in this space of online, this digital world that we live in. You know, we still have to be human beings and understand the value of every single person that contributes, because that's what they're doing. VAs do and OBMs do. They contribute to our vision, our dream, and you know, I had to sit back with all the, you know, potential clients that I have now that I'm considering working with. I'm looking at, Sasha, okay, this person can only afford this much, but after reevaluating, I'm like, oh, I got to look at and say, maybe your budget is not ready or this and that, so that I don't cause stress on my team, you know? So it goes back to the pricing structure too. That's so important. That we have to implement early on. So yeah, let's go over to the fourth question, guys. So the next thing is, they complete tedious daily tasks. And we were just talking about that.
Yep.
Go ahead, Sasha.
Well, I mean, like you said, we were just talking about it. So you have to really think about the things that are being done every day. You might not realize that you're doing them every day, but that's where writing them down comes into play. Because if you write everything down and you're realizing, wait a minute, this keeps popping up, this keeps popping up, this keeps popping up, you know, but that's simple. You know, I can do that really easily. If you say that to yourself, that's simple. That takes 2 seconds to do, because we all talk like that. Oh, that takes 2 seconds to do. That takes 2 seconds to do. So guess what? Those items that take 2 seconds to do, take them all and move them over to a virtual assistant.
So you're thinking like maybe we should like get like a journal, and just this is for those who are just like, let me just start today. This is early. It's morning time still. Get a journal or something on Dropbox so you can easily share it with the person. And just write down everything and how long it took us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a big thing. I'm glad you said that. That is such a big thing. Time yourself, because a side story, my son does the dishwasher, right? And he, I don't want to do the dishwasher. But I told him, I said, I've timed myself doing the dishwasher. It takes me less than 5 minutes to fill it and sometimes even empty it. So I said, time yourself, see how long it takes you to do it. Now, when you initially think, oh, I got to take care of that. Now that you know the time it took you, oh, I got to take care of that, but that's only going to take 5 minutes. So let me just get it out of the way. Yeah. If you know the time it takes, it makes it easier to get it done. Exactly. And it sets expectations if you're doing hourly, because if you know it took you only such and such amount of time to do it, when you pass it on to a VA, you know, if they say, oh, that takes me 20 minutes, next. No, that doesn't. It took me 5 minutes. And once I show you how to do it, it should take you 5 minutes, 10 minutes max, because it's not too you know? So, yeah, that's a good point. Write everything down, even if you think it's so small. And here's a tip. After you write it all down, have somebody else run through it and do the steps. You'll be able to see where the missing parts are.
Mm.
You might have skipped it because it's something you know, like and it might seem small, you know, press and enter here, scroll down here. If you see that they're stuck at a position and they're like, well, what do I do from here? You're like, oh, duh, you got to scroll down. Well, you didn't tell me that. You didn't tell me that.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So you have to have somebody else look at it and then let them run through it. So it's like a step for step. So if you're reading a directions for macaroni and cheese, how to make a box macaroni and cheese, if I created it, I know how to do it and I write it all down. This is how you make it. But then the person that's trying to follow my directions comes to a pass where they're like, well, what do I do now? You're like, well, this is what you do. Well, you didn't write it down. You want to follow the directions step by step. It's not steps. So you have to, that's why, you know what? If you don't want to write it down, record yourself, voice memo. Every phone has it.
That's true.
Voice
memo. And that can be converted into text. Yeah, you're so right.
Goodness. And that, you know what? You get a VA to do that for you.
Yeah, that's true. See, that simplifies it all. So for all of you who are now super excited about this whole conversation, you're ready to run out to the next person. It'd be best if you start to say, okay, let me spend the rest of this week just writing and journaling and voice recording everything I do in my business and everything I want to get done in my business. And another thing is ask questions before you say, before you agree on anything, because we work with some people like Sasha and I were talking about that are just so money hungry. They want you to pay them, $500 a month. $1,500 a month, and those are upward prices if you want to really, good one.
That's close to OBM prices.
Yeah, that's close to,
we do a lot crazier things than what a VA does. So if a VA tells you $1,500, they better be running your business.
They better, honey, listen. That's what people's rent.
Or have a team of the graphic designer, this person, the email marketer. They can charge you that much, but they better have a team behind them.
Yeah, and those of you who are like, well, let me find somebody, let me outsource. Girl, be careful with that, because if you're saying, listen, I'm gonna give you access to my email, to my social media, Facebook ain't playing, and I know Instagram ain't playing. If somebody overseas logs into your stuff, you could get your account frozen. You know what I'm saying? Like, just be careful with that. Because that's definitely.
Yeah, we help as an OBM. I help if somebody is in a position that's watching and they already have a team, they already got their people. One, tell us your experience with your VA. You should have it now. And two, when you become in a position where you have a team and you start needing to speak to somebody like me who is managing that team for you and taking you out of the day-to-day, taking you out of the month-to-month, really, taking you out of the, out of the situation, make sure. I just lost my train of thought.
Well, you said first tell us your experience with your VA. It's cool.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? I just totally lost my train of thought. It just like out my head. So when it comes to you're ready to hire someone like me, you got to have your systems in place to begin with before you can actually talk to somebody like me.
Absolutely.
So if you're in a position where you can talk to me, great. Let's talk. But I like that I get to be on this end first. And I'm finding that if I play a role at the beginning to get people situated to where they can actually have somebody like me, they're starting from the beginning on a good footing.
Absolutely.
I know where they're supposed to be at the end. So since I know where they're supposed to be at the end, I know what has to get into place at the beginning. Right. So that's why I like that. I like to be on this end because I get to say, okay, your VA has to be able to do this. Your graphic has to be able to do this. This is what they're supposed to do. This is what they're not supposed to be, And so, but that's, I help all those people in my program. I can't say
right. That's right. It's that serious level of you wanting to really take your business seriously and not have it be a hobby. Now it's like you're creating companies with layers and processes and infrastructure and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because like you said before, you help us do what?
I help you stop working in your business and start working on your business.
On your business. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's hugely important. So it brings us to our last point we want to, present to you guys today is they let you focus on what you do best. Talk about that, Sasha.
Well, we kind of actually pinpoint and talked about it a lot through the whole thing.
Yes,
If you know your zone of genius, just because you're a business owner doesn't mean you know graphics. Just because you're a business owner, if you're a coach, a life coach for women that have dealt with miscarriages or women that have dealt with divorce, you're not a graphic designer. You're not a VA. You're not an OBM. You're not a financial person. And just because you need those people, it doesn't make you less of a business owner in your zone of genius. But if you're doing all the tasks of these people that are, you know, over here, you're not going to be able to focus on what you're supposed to be doing because you're worried you're doing everybody else's stuff over here that you're supposed to have a team for.
Yeah.
And a team doesn't have to be dramatic. It can be 1 or 2 people. It could be 6 people. It could be 10 people. Whatever your company needs to strive, that's what you have to have. But a VA is where you start, because then you start realizing how much of a team you actually need, because you're being purposeful on what it is that you want to do, what you don't want to do. And you're like, well, I actually don't like doing that. I actually want to start doing where I'm speaking on stage. But I don't have time to do that, because that 20 hours that you're spending on office work and busy work that you could pass over to a VA could have been 20 hours of you traveling to do a speaking engagement. Absolutely. 20 hours of you marketing yourself for a speaking engagement. Really pinpoint your time. We all have the same time, but we're not using it all the same. So this is the thing. If you have a goal, and this is something that I learned recently and actually just kind of got put back into me because I'm reading that book that you just read, the habit book.
Yeah, Atomic Habit.
If you are, say you have a goal and I have a goal, we both have the same goal, we're both in the same, I'm listening on audio and it's such a good book.
It's really good.
So if we say we're both in the same field, you're in, we'll use network marketing as an example. You're a consultant, I'm a consultant, same business plan. But why is it that this person is thriving more than you? It's the same business, same business plan. You guys both have the same goal. It's not about the goal. It's about getting yourself situated at the beginning, making sure that your habits based off the book, they worded it so well. So perfect. I couldn't figure, I knew it, but they worded it wonderfully. It's not about your goal. It's about what you're doing to get to that goal.
Absolutely.
So if you're spending time on busy work, you're not going to get to the goal, or you might get to it, but guess what? It's going to take you an extra year.
That's true.
It's going to take you extra time. Meanwhile, if you took some of your, raised your expenses, lowered your profit margin a little bit at the beginning, get a VA, bring in help. Obviously, you're not going to bring somebody. If you're not making money, you can't hire somebody in.
Exactly.
But if you're making money and you're saying, well, I got all this profit and blah, 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 take that profit, reinvest it and get a VA. Have that VA work on things. So guess what? Your profit now is hiring the VA is not going to matter, because your profit's going to excel. Your revenue is going to go up, and because you're focusing on yours, a zone of genius. You're focused on the reason you even got in business in the first place.
That's very true. That's very true. And this is why I incorporated what you're doing into all of my packages, because I've seen the experience of coaching where they teach you how to build a brand or build a business, and then that's it. You're on your own. And they're not giving you the infrastructure that they have, or most of them probably don't even have that. But you're losing money. You spent $15K with that coach or that mentor or whatever, and then you're not going to earn that back, because it took you a while to get it there, but you're not going to earn that back, because you don't have the team. You don't have the resources on the back end. You can't touch every corner in your business on your own. So you look at that investment that you made. That I've heard of one lady spending over $100K on a coach, and she investment, because what I offer for my clients on a private end who are ready to pay that level is sales structure, branding. I call it brand identity, marketing, and now support. Not a lot of coaches have that support side. The support side is where the VAs and the OBMs and all the team structure comes in, because you do need that set up early on in order to make things happen. So you can get to that point where you can get more involved with Sasha and working more hands-on with that stuff. And that's something that's so important that not a lot of coaches have. They'll just, hey, give me your money, and then, hey, goodbye. But understand that that's an investment. And that's another thing that what I realized just recently, that a lot of, particularly women, don't necessarily respect so much. They just say, oh, I want to start a business. I want to start a business. But not understanding that you have to, make that investment if you want to get to that level of looking at everybody else out there who has a business. It's not, okay, let me get an idea, let me get a cute funnel, and the money's going to start flowing in. No, that's not it. Yeah.
There's a lot behind it. And as in my position as the OBM, everybody says, okay, when I speak to somebody, well, that's kind of high. You paid that for a coach to give you information.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm asking you to let me in to actually make sure things are getting done. Not just telling you these are the systems, but now how do we implement these systems? How do we actually, and it's not to knock coaches, because there's some amazing coaches out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to have expectation from the beginning. Ask them, after you give me the information, am I getting things that I can actually, touch? Am I getting things that actually do work? I mean, you have your free work. I don't understand why it's free, but you have your free workbook. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is like nonstop. Do this. Move, actually implementing, actually making moves, not just sitting there and saying, this is what you have to do. And that's it. Okay, well, show me, give me an example. And, I've had to, in the past, sit there on Pinterest and Google and say, show me examples of what the person just told me to do. And with a good coach and it's crazy, because what I do in helping people with their business, it's on a fine line where it's like service provider and coach at the same time. Because when I work with the people, my clients, I have to make sure that they're a lot of CEOs we're control. We like to take control. So we have to let go. You have to learn to let go. You have to learn to actually let somebody else, trust somebody else to be right there with you and actually care about your business. Obviously, it's not going to be 100% the same, but it's going to care about it as much as you do, are supposed to, and start putting things into place and actually implementing things, making sure that your team is doing what you pay them for, making sure it's like I get to be an advocate. Yes, I'm a service provider, but I'm an advocate for the company, for the client and things like that. So when you get to a place that you can have someone like me on your team, you got to be ready to basically hit the ground running, because I'm going to give you things that you need to do. And until you do those, we can't move forward. And you're the same way. You're like, well, did you do what I told you to do? Did you do those things that I worked out to you? No. Okay. Well, maybe you're not taking this as serious. It's not about, yes, we want to get paid. We know our value, but we put our value out there. We told you how much it is for our programs to work with us, our services. And that's it. We told you, we moved on. Now it's time to actually get the work done. Now I need to know that everything I'm telling you to do is being done.
That's right. And it's not just a listen shop. Which is a lot of what goes on into the market. Get my next course, get my next program, get my next whatever. But it's just all listen shops. And it's but so long you can spend time on building a solopreneur business before you say, I'm overwhelmed and I'm just going to take a break or whatever, and we're all seeing that now, those who were like January and February that was going really all into their businesses. And now when this pandemic started to get worse and worse and worse, they stopped promoting, they stopped marketing, they stopped all of that. Why is that?
Scared. I got scared. It was
a good point. What is your zone of genius? What do you love to do? Because I even have to say, wait a minute. If I have to go live, because that's what I love to do. That's my zone of genius, and closing people on the back end. So those are the two main things I want to do every day. So anything else outside of that needs to get delegated. So you help me to find more of this epiphany moment right now. Like when you said, even if you like doing something and you're comfortable with doing something, is that something that's bringing your business forward? Because another misconception, I mean, for me personally, I don't want a VA handling the closing process, because I know that well. Why? Because I have a conversation with a potential client, and then I know her, like the energy is there. You know what I mean? The vibe is there. So I know what to say and what to really try to encourage her to really put herself in the driver's seat, where you could hire somebody to do that for you. And I'm talking about my particular business. I know some people have salespeople and all these different things, but I'd rather get involved in that process of closing, because then it's not a copy and paste type of thing. You know, it's more of just like me having that conversation and encourage them that you are in fact ready. I do girls all the time say, well, I'm not ready. I don't think what I know is anybody we even care about. Girl, yes,
yeah. I had that.
I believe in you, and I know that you can do it. I believe in your vision. I believe in all this. So those type of conversations I like to get involved in. So that's the major epiphany moment I just had from this conversation. It's like,
yeah,
what do you enjoy doing in your business that's going to produce profit? Anything else? Start recording, start journaling, and all.
Yeah, and just to tell you, like, I myself, I am really good at what I do. I enjoy what I do a lot. Like, I really enjoy it. It drives me forward. I know when I wake up in the morning, I'm going to help one of my clients or somebody that I come across take their business to the next level. I love knowing that when I see somebody succeed, I had part in that. And I don't want them to have to tell me. I'm not looking for them to be like, Sasha did this and love. No, I mean, those are nice when that happens. Don't get me wrong. But I like knowing myself, you know, when I tell my husband, you see that right there, you know, I helped them create that, or I helped them do this, and I helped them. And that, you know, makes me want to do it more. When I was when I was a VA, I enjoyed it, but this is where I had to come to terms with myself. You know, being a VA, I was a kick-ass VA, but when I learned about the OBM position, I was like, wait a minute, that's what I'm doing. That's what I enjoy doing. When I was looking at what I was doing as a VA, the busy work is not for me. It's not for me, because I was giving too much to my clients, and I was giving them more of what an OBM does versus what an OBM does. And I was like, wait a minute, I got to switch gears myself. And now I feel not only am I secure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, but to keep learning, to keep, you know, expanding myself and finding that last year, this time, everybody's like, you got to do speaking engagements. And I was like, no, nah, I'm good. I like watching them. And now I'm like, ooh, when can I do my first speaking engagement? When can I do this? You know, because now I found where I'm supposed to be. I found my thing. I found my zone of genius. And now I have people that help me on the VA side, but I'm actually trying to get somebody that I know trained to be my personal VA. I'm like, I need you to be here full time. I need it now, you know? And that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. That means that my business is growing. But at the same time, I know when it comes to transcribing, you know, things, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So I need to find my perfect full-time VA to be that person where I say, hey, I got all these things, take care of it, you know, and I need you to take care of that. And my perfect VA, full-time VA, is gonna be like, no problem, I got it. Bam, 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 got it done. You know, you got to work together. Your VA is not supposed to be, you know, someone that that's there in the background. Work together. Tell them your goals. Tell them where you want to be, so they know, hey, transcribing this silly little thing right here is going to be able to help so and so get to their goal. And we don't want them like I said, be in the same position. Oh, I love your company as much as you do, but you want them to know what you're working towards and why they're working with you. You got to let them know.
It does take time. If you know, and I ask this question to women that I speak to on my discovery calls, and I say, well, who have you worked with before? And they will tell me, yeah, I've worked with, you know, people before, but it didn't work out. I was like, well, how long have you? Oh, it's a month, and I didn't see any results. It takes about 90 days, guys. It really, really does, to really get familiarized with that person. And for that, if you're not good on your end with the communication, the back and forthness, and the checking in and stuff, then maybe it's you, you know, maybe you're not the perfect person to work with, because you expect people, your level of expectations for people to just get it, you know. And you got to understand that if you write down a process or a procedure or whatever, a system, it's going to take them time to perfect it how you want it. So it took
you time to get it.
Yeah, that's why when you go into a job, yeah, this orientation, 90-day, however many day orientation, because they give you time to train you to, iron out your mistakes
Right.
before they decide to whether or not move forward with you. It's the same aspect. Don't assume because you hire a VA, he's going to turn your business around after a month. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane. I actually stay away from, business owners like that, because I'm like, I'm not going to put my team into hell and high water to fit your, unrealistic expectations, especially if you don't even know what it is that you want done or implement, I notice a lot of like first time business owners. Yes, right, Therese. Therese knows. She knows. Yeah. I notice that a lot of first time business owners, they do that. The ones that are more seasoned are more patient into knowing that there's like me, like myself, I'm still figuring out my way out of the woods with this whole back end stuff. So it does, take time. And even on the coaching end, you have to have that patience. You just have to have that patience. Yeah.
But it's good. It's good that you're doing that, because you doing that is going to make it to where time is actually spent doing work. So that's why before you hire someone on your team, actually know, even if that's not your zone, you have to do a little bit of research on what it is that the person in that position actually is supposed to do for you.
Exactly.
And then that way, if that person is for you, but you don't know if you don't write it down. You have, and it sounds so simple, but start by writing everything down. It sounds simple, but it's not. You'll be surprised. And, I have systems on my back end, obviously, but before I had I'm telling everybody, get their systems together. Meanwhile, I'm over here, my systems are in my head. And I'm like, well, I got to write my systems down
too. In your head either. And it's like, if you are at that point where you know what you do every day, you have routines, you have all this stuff, but you're doing the majority of stuff by yourself, give yourself some time to document all of that. Because me sitting here and documenting everything that I do, which is like a freaking novel basically at this point, I'm looking at the upside of it. Like, okay, and I'm more on the OBM side, guys. So I'm not, on the VA side anymore. But on the OBM side, I'm thinking like, wow, once I hand this over, and again, it's going to take time for things to get like this, oh, good. I could close more people. Now I can go out there and go live more, do these virtual conferences, and now events, because I was even looking at a lot of the events. Hopefully when this whole thing, blows over, I was looking at events. I'm like, oh, I'm going to need a personal person, like person actually come in. And now that's a whole nother set of processes that I haven't even discovered yet, So it's like we said, what we particularly do is as a jointly, Sasha and I, is a whole nother level of entrepreneurship. It really puts you in position of CEO instead of saying I'm a CEO and founder. We like to use all those creative words, right? Because they sound cute. But on the back end, honey, we're freaking the plumber, we're the this and that. That's the way you're not
the CEO yet. Right now, you're still.
I asked somebody. I was like, well, how many clients do you have? I don't know, girl. You should know that. Like it should be like this. That's a problem, Houston. We have a problem. But so Sasha, this was a great conversation. Just so you guys know, Sasha's going to be here on the show practically every single Wednesday. We're going to really be the Wednesday's topics is going to be geared around, OBM, virtual assistant, productivity, and things like that. We're going to get into a little bit of podcasting later on in May. That type of information. We got something cool coming up for you guys for that. You guys get a lot of value out of this convo. This is a great topic. It really is. And from the feedback you guys were giving us in the chat, it's needed. And I know most of y'all are listening. Y'all like at this listening stage, because this is a lot, right? It probably is a lot for you. And that's why I love talking about this, because y'all actually listening and taking it in, and not so much, trying to say, okay, let me go out and get one right now.
Everybody's writing their list right now. They're like,
and I love that, because
let me a pen.
Absolutely. And this is the conversation where you do in fact do that, where you actually are just taking in and absorbing the information. And if you're ready for that next step and want to learn more about it, I encourage you to either reach out to myself or reach out to Sasha and get on a conversation with either one of us, because it's time. It's time for you to either learn how to get to that point, or if you are at that point, it's time to really you know, push forward. You know what I mean? Because like I said, what I've noticed for most women in my particular network, their businesses have been picking up right now. Like
Mine has.
yes, I know your head. Yeah. And it's like we did not expect that, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and you mentioned this 2 weeks ago, I believe, that right now, that idea of you getting 50 to 100 clients at one time or 50 to 100 customers at one time, it can in fact be a possibility. But are you
Yeah.
ready for that?
Right.
Most of us aren't, you know, and that's the major thing.
Yeah.
It's like that's huge. That's huge, huge, you know.
Yeah, we want clients, but if you get 50 people say you want people to contact you, but if they contacted you all at the same time, are you gonna step up or are you about to go into your
You're
little
gonna turn people
hole?
down.
Yeah, you're gonna have to like I can't
Yep.
do this.
Are you gonna be
Figure it
missing emails or messages and things like that? Sometimes you only got one opportunity to reach out to that hot lead or that
Yeah.
potential person before they move on to somebody else. You know what I mean? And I told y'all my experience where I missed out on I think it was like a 15, 20K client because I didn't have those systems in place early on. I didn't follow up. Had I did, she probably wouldn't have worked with that next person, you know? But people are now, once they're ready to take action, they reach out. You know what I mean? They're ready to move. They're ready to get going. They're ready to get started. And if you're not ready for that because your back end is all discombobulated, right? All
Right.
treatments and stuff, you're going to miss out on major opportunities. So I appreciate you guys for joining us. I appreciate you, Sasha, for being on the show. She's going to be back on next Wednesday. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, just reach out or comment below. So thank you guys so much for watching. As always, don't forget, get out there and dominate because it's time to design a life that you in fact deserve. So we have all of our contact information down below, SashaFigueroa.com. If you're interested in joining my membership program, $9 is $9. bit.ly/sales success today. And we look forward to seeing you guys on the other side. Till next time, bye.
All right.